This is a Mo toilet, whatever that is. Ready? Here we go.
So I'm here with my customer service staff. If any of you have ever talked to them on the phone, you know that they are the best customer service in the industry. Honestly, we get feedback all the time where customers say, your customer service team is the best customer service I have ever spoken to in my entire life.
I was actually, when I seen on here, it talked about your first sale. I was trying to remember the other day what my first sale was.
Oh, geez.
And I remembered. My first sale was around Swash 1400. Should I save this?
She might already be recording.
Okay, perfect. So my first sale was around Swash 1400 to this really nice guy who had just moved across state to Minnesota. He'd never had a bidet before. He was in an apartment. And so we really kind of learned about bidets together to some degree. And so I was so excited.
So it was your first bidet date.
Yeah, I was so personally invested in this guy's life and the walkability of Minnesota because he was just frequently giving me updates. And so he decided to get the Swash 1400, knowing his toilet was round and kind of an odd size, so it might not be a great fit. And it wasn't. It was a terrible fit. And
The toilet was too small?
It was too small.
Yeah.
And it was wall hung, so it really wasn't like an easy one to replace.
A round wall hung?
Yes. And I was like
sounds terrible.
crushed. I was.
You don't buy a house with a round wall hung in it.
It was an apartment, so yeah.
Jeez.
But I was so emotionally invested. I was very, very upset that it had to come back. But he actually talked to his landlord and got them to switch the toilet to an elongated wall hung so he could get the Eco Nova. Kid you not.
Nice.
So he ordered the Eco Nova.
So that was your second sale.
So that was my second sale. Yes.
She got better with each sale.
I got 2 sales. Yes. Do you guys remember your first sales?
I really
No.
don't.
I don't remember the customer per se because it was just a cart sale. It was before I did customer service, really. You know, I had a site and people would come to the site and they'd buy or they wouldn't buy. But I do remember it was a BB 2000. And the biggest piece of it was I'd been four months into the website without any sales. And I realized all of a sudden that I could actually make sales because at some point you go a year without making sales. You're going to say, okay, this might not be the business that's going to do it. So, yeah.
So 4 months in was your first sale.
Yep. And then I was like proof of concept and I soldiered
like
on.
it.
And then a yearish later, I discovered what a customer service experience did that a basic website didn't do when I installed live chat. And I was just like, I messaged a friend of mine who was also getting into e-commerce. I was like, have you tried a live chat program yet? He's like, no. I was like, you need to try it because Nicole was gone. And I was sitting in my bathrobe on the ground with my arm on the couch and my laptop sitting there, and I was installing a live chat program while I was watching a movie. And I think it was Book of Eli, actually.
I was going to ask.
So I was watching Book of Eli, laptop's on the couch. I'm just sitting there with my arm there installing live chat. And I made 2 sales that night, sitting on live chat. And I was like...
In your robe.
In my robe.
That's great.
Yep. Working from home, my attire is pretty minimal.
We make sales in our robes all the time.
But that's when I discovered, I said, you know what? There's something to this customer service thing.
Yeah.
Well, people say that all the time. Like, oh, we finally got through to somebody or whatever, we actually pick up the phone or whatever. And it almost always results in a sale. Even if they found, a cheaper price from, who knows where. But
We all know who where.
Well, okay. But they're like, well, you guys actually answered the phone. So it immediately puts a good taste in people's mouth and it makes a big difference. But if there's no ability to contact somebody, it's tough luck. So people really feel good instantly with the live chat and stuff. Yeah.
I agree with that. I had actually answered the phone the other day to a lady who had ordered an integrated unit from someone else. It had arrived damaged, but they weren't answering their phone. And she said, you answered the phone. I'm going to go ahead and place an order for the same unit through you guys. And she ordered a Neorest.
Nice.
Wow.
Just because we answered the phone. She's like, we're already off to a better start.
Better start.
Well, it is
Is
funny.
this a regular thing? It is.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
Anytime someone calls a competitor of ours first and then reaches out to us, they see the difference.
Yeah.
So if they start with us, it's not as big of a contrast. But the moment they start with someone else and then they come to us and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I like you guys better.
It's true. It's a pretty night and day difference for a lot of people.
Or when they talk with us first and then they say they're going to shop around. And I say, all right, I'll talk to you next week.
that does happen.
Yeah. So what was your second sale then?
So my second sale was a lady who really helped to propel Many Bidets into where it is today because she encouraged me to get reviews. And the reason for that is that she was not the easiest person to get along with. She was trying to stand on her bidet when running a wash, which I explained to her was not how it works. And she told me that she could not balance while standing on her bidet. I'm surprised I've not told you guys this.
No.
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 This is a new
There's
one.
all kinds of
Remember
issues here
this.
with this, though.
So she thought she needed to stand on the bidet. And she said that it was not reaching her. No, duh, Sherlock. So she's standing on the bidet. She's not getting a good clean.
Okay.
I ended up doing BioBidet offered me a risk-free trial. It's another BB2000. So BioBidet graciously offered me a risk-free trial program from the very start. And so this lady took us up on that. So she sent the seat back to BioBidet, and she had taken a permanent magic marker and written profanities all over the seat.
What?
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah, they got the seat back, and they're like, what's the story with the seat? And I was like, well, let me tell you. They're like, well, because it came back, and it's got swear words written all over it. And so then a few weeks later, I was running some Google searches, and I saw Many Bidets reviews, which I had not thought to look at before. But I won 1-star Google review, and it was her.
Oh.
And so anyone watching or any of you can go out to Google, look at our Google reviews, and look at the very first one. You'll see it's 1 star.
I'm going to go find them.
Yeah, you are.
Yes. I need to see what she had to say. Wow.
We don't have a lot of reviews.
I haven't actually looked, but don't they say on the label not to stand on them? Some of
I'm
them
sure they
I
do.
believe they do, yeah.
they've got
They
a
say
little-
not to stand on the lid.
Oh, that's
I don't
true.
know.
That's
You have to stand on the seat to wash yourself.
And then there's actually a little like diagram where your feet go.
It actually bothers me so much.
And this is how warning labels get created.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you know somebody did something stupid,
Yeah.
and that's how it ends up on the label. Every
Do
time.
not take a bath with your bidet plugged in the bath with you.
In the bathroom. Don't try and bathe yourself with the bidet in the shower.
Do not drink out of the bidet spout.
What?
Really? Yeah. So
You do that, don't you?
That's a new one for me.
She fills up her cup every day.
It's like it's got
Water
sterilization.
fountain. Hello.
Thought it was in my water bottle.
Is it a tea kettle or a pea kettle?
both?
Both.
Terrible.
It does warm the water for you, so
It's true.
Yeah.
What temperature
You can make tea.
make your steep your white tea in some
There you go.
95-degree
Yeah.
water?
Just throw the tea
As
bag
long
in
as
the
it's not
mug.
yellow tea.
I catch the water.
It's perfect.
Sit on the heated seat for 5 minutes while the tea steeps. Good to go.
Ultimate spa experience.
Back to work.
Oh my gosh.
that is a picture of my rolling desk. So I had a gray and black desk that I bought for $80, and it was a piece of junk. But if you balanced, so it was pretty wobbly, but the more weight you put on it, the less wobbly it was because there was weight straight down. And then if you balance monitors evenly on either side, then it wouldn't tip. And so I would connect a long extension cord to the standing desk, and I would roll it around the main floor of the Ypsilanti house. And that way I could go in and wrestle around with the kids while I was waiting to hear if a chat went off or, whatever.
Yes.
But that's a picture of it.
Yeah, I tried taking my laptop upstairs to do something, and it's impossible to just use one screen. Like,
Yeah.
Terrible.
just impossible. I couldn't even help a chat if a chat came on with, with a laptop.
I don't know how to do this.
Yeah. Transfer.
Sorry, we lost connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, three monitors minimum.
I've been lately thinking, like, man, maybe I am going to need a fourth at some point. Just when I start doing orders and, like, I've got just so many different tabs that I'm actively working for each thing, that would be really great if I didn't have to.
I will hook
keep,
you
like,
up.
pulling back. I know.
Many.
I just.
What are you at? 5?
I don't.
6?
6.
6.
Yeah.
6
6
monitors.
monitors.
That's crazy.
Works well.
When you asked how many monitors I was gonna need, I was like, Karen number 1, how many do you have? And she's like, well, I have 3. And I'm like, 3? We're selling bidets. How many do we need?
6.
6.
3 is like almost not enough.
Yeah.
It
Almost
really
not
is.
enough.
And
Yeah.
it's very stressful to try to think about doing anything without this
Yeah.
many. Whereas 2 years ago, I didn't even own a laptop. So
Tell that story.
Yeah.
Tell that story.
When
That's
you-
my favorite.
when you called me to offer me the job, I was at Aldi. Do you guys have Aldi?
We do.
Okay.
Love
It's like,
Aldi.
people are going to think I'm just crazy if you don't even know what Aldi is. So I was at a grocery store. I was shopping and you offered me the job and you were like, so do you want to use your setup or do you want me to send a setup? And I'm like, you can send me a setup. What's a setup? I don't know what a setup is, but I sure don't have one. You're like, well, I'll send you a laptop and then like, how many monitors do you want? And I'm like, what's a monitor?
Doesn't a laptop come with a monitor?
Yeah, like, isn't the screen already attached to it? Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm like, he's gonna regret hiring me for sure. And you sent it all, and it took me a lot of tears to get that figured out how to set that up. But we did it. Took me, my husband, my brother-in-law, but we got it done. And now here I am, 2 years later, and I could use some more monitors.
I just love that you were like, well, you can send
Well, I
me
didn't
your
want to
setup if
I didn't want to
that's
sound
easier.
completely ridiculous. I was like, well, I mean, if you have one that you want to
I'd rather keep
send,
my setup separate.
I really like mine, but I'd be willing to use yours.
I would say every time I went over to Lydia's house after you sent us the Razer quick copy, and I saw it just sitting shoved under some
was like,
papers, like
Oh, she
up
wasn't
in the
using
corner.
it.
Wasn't using it.
Well, that's painful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She
Wow.
didn't- even after all the
Sorry, they're
walkthrough that
related.
you had done,
Straight
you
under
use
the
it
bus.
now?
Oh yeah.
So
I would have quit by now if I didn't have that
I
thing.
set her up. I showed her. I sat down with her. I showed her how to use it.
Okay. You walked us through it, and I had it set up. But then we got the new laptops,
You had to
and I had to
reset
redo
up.
it, and we didn't have that video, our hour-long video chat of you trying to teach us how to do stupid things.
I tell you what, the technical help that Dan's had to
Oh my
walk
gosh.
through has been
I will
man.
never forget one time early on. This is so embarrassing. One time early on when I was working, again, I didn't even have a computer. I didn't really even know how to use a computer. Did not disclose that in my interview. And I was like, I can talk to people. I just don't know how to write an email, or turn on my computer. But anyways, I was having problems with something. I actually, this is even more embarrassing. I think I was having a hard time getting an email to send. It was just this little a little send button at the bottom of the
I
email.
remember this. Now that you're telling the story.
I know what's happening. I was like, it's not it's gray. It won't let me send it. And I messaged you, and you were like, well, just send me a screenshot. And I was like, yes. I will figure out how to do that.
You got me a screenshot though.
Yeah, but it took forever because I didn't know how. I got the screenshot, but I
takes
didn't
a
know how
picture
to
with her
send
phone.
it. I didn't know how to send it. And after a while, you were like, "Do you have the screenshot?" And I was like, "Yes, I'll be right there. I'm just very busy right now." And you were like, "Just copy and paste it." I'm like, "You can do that?" And it's changed my life that I can copy and paste pictures and screenshots. But yeah, I think my issue with the email was that I don't know if I didn't have the .com or like it wasn't like a full email address.
You had left off the dot, so it was whatever
Like,
whatever
this is
Gmail.com.
crazy. There's
Gmail.com.
something very wrong with this system. Like it's probably a system error. It's gotta be. Like, there's no way. I've done everything I can. I've tried every way.
At a loss. We've learned a lot, like just on the technical side of things.
100%.
Yeah.
Basically a guru now.
Now I actually do make sure I've done everything I can before going to Dan for help.
I know, because it's incredibly embarrassing.
I check the .com. I do everything first.
Did I add the address at all?
Yeah.
Oh
Did I
man.
try hitting send?
Yeah. I think my favorite part is working from home. My husband works from home. He's a software engineer, and I have more screens than he has.
That's great.
I know.
And a faster computer.
And a faster
yeah.
computer.
Way faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When I was opening that bad boy up, he was jealous.
You're like, best part of my job.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. And the quick copy keypad, I'm like, you could use this. You would totally use this in your job, but you just can't have it, unfortunately.
Sorry.
So
Not
Sam,
as cool as me.
Sam can share in the pod this as well, but the quick copy keypad that we're referencing is something that all customer service have, because I found it so helpful when I was doing customer service. And it's just a gaming keypad that you can record macros to. So you set
Still
up.
don't know what macros are, so we just ignore
Yes,
that
we do.
word.
Yeah, we do.
Continue.
I set up the macros and then they use them. Or Gloria sets up the macros. But Sharon, Karen, whatever.
Sharon, Karen.
But basically, then you add into that spreadsheets, and then you can repeat tasks in spreadsheets quickly. You can set up a copy queue program, and you can copy and paste 10 different queues at the same time. Lots of functionality.
Like, what did things look like day to day?
Yeah, in
For
the
you.
early days.
Before I hired people.
Yeah.
In the
At
early
first, it was
days.
very slow.
Yeah,
then it
4
picked
months
up.
for the first sale.
Picked up more, and then I hired someone. Let's see, Christina. What did she help me with? She did some customer service, but she didn't do phone calls.
Yeah.
She just did emails and live chats. And she actually started with writing, and then I was like, I can't keep up with customer service, so she switched. But I didn't hire her to take phone calls, so I felt bad making her take phone calls. So I took all the phone calls, and then that started to consistently get busier.
That wouldn't feel very good, I don't think, to have an employee that's not taking phone calls while you're running ragged, taking them all. I mean, I take phone calls, so I know what that's like.
So
I know that emotional roller coaster.
running a business, I really just do whatever I need to do. There are parts of the business I like, parts of the business I don't like, but I've done all the parts of the business at one point or another. You know, and you know, you don't like wiping a poopy bottom, but you'll do it for your kid, right? So
Not
this
that I have a bidet now.
there you go. But this business was my baby. So doing the phone calls was not my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it was part of what needed to be done. So
That makes sense.
you know. So then the two of us ran the business for a long time, along with some help from Hannah, who had joined us shortly after, doing some writing. And then in 2019, so this started all in 2013. So just to give you a picture, 2019, Sam came on and we started talking about Dignity Solutions, designing the Cascade, all of that. And then COVID hit in 2020. And instantly we were completely overwhelmed. So I scrambled and hired another customer service rep. who also only did emails and live chat. So I was still doing all the phone calls. And then we've kept growing, and the three of you have come on since then, and you all do phone calls, and you all do more work than anyone watching this would know. And it has enabled me to grow the business, enabled me to think big and add more to your plate. All the great stuff,
good stuff
that I just really want to do.
I tell you, every morning when I start work, and I'll pull everything up, and I'll see a voice message from you, and it's like 7 minutes long. I'm like, oh, he's got another idea. It's a big one.
It's a big one. It's a 7-minute long idea.
We're gonna spend a lot of time today on this idea.
and
almost every day. So
and those are the messages. I open up WhatsApp, I start the recording, it's 10 minutes long. I'm like, this is too long. I delete it and I start over.
Oh,
So
no.
then we get
the 7-minute version. Oh my god.
Caps it for us. That's nice.
And seven's the cap.
Sometimes I'll record a voice message and I'll be like, that was 2 minutes of me talking. I am so sorry, you guys. You had to listen to me talk for 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I've gotten over it.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's like, I'm gonna talk until I'm done talking on this, y'all.
I'm gonna talk and they're gonna listen. I'm the boss. That's how it works.
The bathroom struggle is real no matter who you are. And a lot of times people call in embarrassed to talk about their issues without realizing that everyone has issues in the bathroom.
Right.
And often I would share my issues in the bathroom because I had issues with IBS. I still have some issues with IBS. Bidets have helped a lot. I used to have hemorrhoids all the time. Don't have those. I haven't had a hemorrhoid at all since I started using a bidet. But I used to struggle with that all the time. And so sharing my own bathroom struggles often helped. But I'm curious what experiences you've all had on that and what you would say to someone calling in who's struggling to share because they are not sure how to word their concerns.
Sure. I think we definitely get customers with issues that they want to talk about. They just don't know how to start the dialogue with that. And I think for us, it's just letting them know that they're not alone.
Yeah, I think people usually feel really like they're the only one in the world that's got this problem, and we're gonna feel uncomfortable with them sharing what is going on and what their struggle is. But I mean, no, we've heard it all, we've seen it all. We help where we can, and
Right.
There's really not any shame in it. Literally, everybody goes to the bathroom, and everybody has different struggles and different bodies and different needs, and
Yeah, and being able to help find exactly what's going to fit their needs and help them. It's important to know those things.
Right.
So
I'd rather people share what's, why they even are looking for a bidet in the first place, so that we can help them find
right.
what's going to be helpful and not something that's going to be unhelpful and then leave them right back in the same situation. Because there's a lot of different features and different things that can be helpful. So it's nice to get all the information, and we've heard it all. I'm not worried about it.
We're all people.
Yeah.
We all use the bathroom. Chances are we've encountered that same problem, and we know how to solve it. So,
But the thing is, it's the first for this individual. They've not talked to their friends about this issue.
Right.
This is the first time they're sharing this issue, possibly with anyone. Maybe they've not even talked to their spouse about it.
Yeah.
And so while we've heard it countless times and we know exactly what bidet to recommend, for them it's a new experience. And so they don't understand where we're coming from, but we're ready to listen, we're ready to help
Absolutely.
because we've been there, we understand.
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
And I would say, if there's someone out there that has an issue that they're not comfortable verbally talking about, or they don't want to attach their email to, get on chat.
Yeah.
You can be completely anonymous and let us know what your concerns are, your questions are, and we can help you navigate that without ever knowing the sound of your voice or who you are.
Totally.
Or any contact information whatsoever.
Exactly.
And sometimes
great
it's just
place
going
to
to be
start.
easier talking with a stranger about something like that than a friend or
totally.
somebody more personal to you. So
Yeah. And speaking of chats, I don't know how many chats you guys get where Someone just types live agent. Live agent.
It's us.
Chat now.
We are
I'm
live.
here.
It's fun because earlier we talked about phone calls and how when someone calls us after calling one of our competitors, we're basically guaranteed the sale. Same thing goes for this. Live chat is so often not live chat.
Yeah.
The people just assume it's not.
Yeah.
And yet for us it is.
Yeah.
And so it's
We're
a unique
constantly-
experience.
People asking us to prove that we're
Yeah, like,
real
can
people,
you-
and I'm like, I
Can you call me at
don't
this
know
number?
what you want me to say.
And you're like,
Yes,
guess
we
what?
can. Okay. So we're chatting right now.
It's like, man, AI is really good. You sound like a real person on the phone.
Keep proving it.
Incredible.
So we often find that people who buy bidets are buying them for the first time because bidets aren't that popular yet in the US. The problem is that when you're buying a bidet for the first time, you don't know what to get, and you are struggling to decide often if you even want a bidet or will even like a bidet. So you've all run into that many times. What advice do you give to people when they're in that position?
I would say risk-free trials are going to be your best friend in that situation.
Explain a risk-free trial for us.
A risk-free trial is a unit you can open, you can install, you can use it. Some are 30 days, others are 60 days, but these are going to be high quality, very dependable units with high customer satisfaction rates. So those are going to be great options, really for any bidet user, but especially for a first-time user, because if for any reason they don't absolutely love it, they can get a full refund back on it.
I'd also say just ask all the questions. Like, if you think it's a dumb question, it's probably not a dumb question. Just ask the question. Because, like, sometimes we'll get real far into a conversation with people, and then they'll be like, oh, but I have a round toilet. Okay, so, like, ask that question. Like, talk to us about your situation. Do you have electric or not? You know, a lot of times, too, people will have pretty specific ideas of features that they think that they're going to be like a make it or break it feature for them. And then the more you talk about it, that's not really a feature they care about at all, but they really cared about this other feature, but we wouldn't have gotten to that point and got them what they really needed to be satisfied with a bidet and for it to be beneficial if they hadn't have asked questions. So ask questions because it's the only way you're going to really find what you really need without having to buy a ton of random ones and be unhappy with your purchase. So
yeah, I think being first time user, I always tell people, like, if you've really never used a bidet before, there's an adjustment period. There's a period of getting familiar with it, body positioning, so it's hitting the right target, finding the right temperature and pressure that feels right for you. So that goes back with the risk-free trial, having something that you can just try it out without, much risk involved, or no risk because it's risk-free. But that just allows you to actually give it a good couple of weeks, and your body and you're gonna be able to adjust to it, and really find what's going to fit you best and work for you.
And I want to build on that just a little bit. I hate to go back to the risk-free trials, but if you're gifting a bidet and you're not exactly sure what their needs are, or maybe you don't want to ask what their needs are, or you're not 100% sure the size of their toilet, definitely gifting them a risk-free trial. That's like a bidet with a risk-free trial.
yeah, for sure. And that happens pretty often, so it's nice to start with that, because risk-free trials are typically on seats too that are known to be a good quality seat and fit a wide range of customers' needs anyways. So it's usually always going to be your best bet.
And if you're not sure what seats are high quality, what seats last, what seats people like the best, ask us.
Yeah.
We know.
Right, totally.
The other interesting piece to this is if you're having a tough time getting clean, like Gloria said, you might need to readjust. And a lot of times people are like, well, I'm having a hard time getting clean. I just want to return this. And often we'll say, okay, here are a list of things to try.
Right.
It's such a common thing that we even did a YouTube video on it.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, once people watch that YouTube video, we never hear from them again.
That you are absolutely correct.
And it's not that they're like, oh man, they really pushed back. I guess I'm not going to return this. It's that they've watched the video, they've tried the tips, and 9 times out of 10, those tips have helped, and they're now very happy with their purchase.
Yeah.
And having personal experience with different brands, different seats, and being able to, I don't know, each seat's a little bit different too. So it's not just your anatomy and your body positioning. It's getting to know your seat as well. So it's not going to be a bullseye every time. You might have to adjust, find the right positioning.
Why do we have customer service instead of salespeople and support?
So our salespeople are customer service and vice versa. And it's very intentional. Before I started Many Bidets, I worked for a company called Thomson Reuters. And I worked in customer service. And all the time I would get individuals who said, well, my sales rep said that UltraTax would do X. UltraTax doesn't do that. UltraTax is a program that doesn't know how to make you breakfast. It just can't do that. So we got that all the time. And then we'd be dealing with an angry customer for 30 minutes who was told that it would do something, spent thousands of dollars specifically for that reason, only to find out that it didn't do that. And one of two things happened. The sales rep lied, or the sales rep just didn't have a clue and made something up. And so what we found is that what I found from working at Thomson Reuters is that when you hire a sales rep and a customer service team that are separate, you hire people who are knowledgeable and people who are not knowledgeable. They're knowledgeable about selling. They got their degrees in selling, whatever, but they don't know the programs well because they're not supporting it. And so because they don't know the product, they can't sell it accurately. And if they sell it inaccurately, they don't have to deal with it when the customer's upset. So by offering customer service and sales all in one, we offer the best sales advice we possibly can because we know the products inside and out. And if you have an issue, you get to talk very likely to the individual who sold you the product, and they'll help you through it. And so it's very intentional. And then the other piece of it is the fact that I would go over, Thomson Reuters had a couple different buildings, and I would go over to the sales building once a year to help with debugging programs. And you knew when a sales rep drove into the parking lot because it was a Lamborghini or it was, I mean, they were sick cars. And yet the sales reps, I mean, I made pennies on the dollar compared to what they made. And yet they were selling products and then not telling their customers the right things about the products. And so that whole thing just sat very poorly with me. So having everything under one roof makes a lot of sense because it allows us to support our customers better from both a customer service standpoint and a sales standpoint so they get what they are expecting to get, and after the fact we can help them if they need help.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that I think you tacking on like free lifetime expert support really like drives home that we're customer service driven because you're only going to recommend a product that you know is going to serve them well.
Right.
And you want them to be happy.
Right.
Because lifetime that's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And if you make someone unhappy because you're just trying to make a quick sale.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
not
and I think
worth
it, again, having customer service, kind of the full scope of it, when someone calls, a lot of times they'll ask, hey, can I speak to a sales rep? Or, hey, can I speak to somebody in technical support? And I think a lot of times people are surprised that we're the answer to any of the questions that they're calling for. So being able to not have to be transferred to multiple departments or different people or get stuck on hold, I think makes a big difference on the whole experience as well.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and we work together as a team, so, people frequently are like, oh, well, I've been working with, with Gloria, and so I want to make sure she, gets the sale or whatever when I purchase this, the commission or whatever. But, we don't work like that. We work as a team. We work hard to make sure that plenty of notes are left so that if, the person that I've been working with ends up calling when I'm helping somebody else, Gloria can take care of them just fine, know everything that they need, and, we're all happy to help them at any given time. And so it's just kind of a nice precedent to set. We want you to have the best seat. We want you to have what's going to be best needed for you. We're not just trying to make a sale for the sake of making a sale and moving on. Like, we invest the time to help you get what you need, and you don't get that with traditional sales styles of business. Just because the more sales volume they get, the more money they get in their pocket, and we genuinely work the same for everybody, and we work hard to make sure you get what you need. So it's a nice model to set, because we can help on every aspect of the customer experience, and so.
But I think what you said about commission really speaks volumes, because to that customer, whoever they talked to, whether it was Gloria or you, Lydia, that whoever it was went above and beyond to answer all their questions, make them feel heard. And it was important enough to them to call back and ask for that same person to make sure if there was a commission, it went to them. And I think it is important for customers to know that we're not commission driven. We give that sort of energy to every single one of our customers, whether I'm the first one to take the call or the third one to take their call.
Sure.
Yeah, and I always like to make it a point when I finish up a call with somebody, I'm like, hey, if you call back, there's a couple of us here, but any one of us can answer your questions, and they'll have notes about our call as well. So again, it's just the full service. They don't have to be transferred or wait for anybody in particular. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've had customers say, hey, I've been talking to Gloria, but she said if I call back, I can talk to you and you'll know what's going on. And I'll be like, yes, I do.
In fact, I say Arin gets 5 out of 5 stars, and so I would call and ask for her. She's pretty good.
Some of our competition has moved support to India. We really care about our customers too much to do that, because we're making the sale up front and then we're supporting them lifetime. We care too much to hire someone else in India to take care of that, and I'm personally not moving to India. So
I think when Lydia and I started, we had the kind of the answering service for a little while, because we were just having so much call volume, and that was a really interesting kind of transition, because people called and they're like, hey, I can tell that you don't know anything about this business or what you're calling for.
which there's no way they would.
Right. So yeah, it was great to move away from that.
Yeah.
You'd lose that family feel. That
You lose that family feel, you lose that expert
you
feel.
lose the family, I guess.
Yeah.
It's no longer family.
Outsourced family.
Outsourced.
They're all adopted now. I love my team. I'm excited to go to work every day, and I try to be the first one to answer their questions if I know the answer. I try to keep notes on everything.
You are very impressive with your notes.
Yes, you're very organized. Got
keep
good notes.
some very thorough notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Somebody here has to.
I know. I've got to keep
For darn
keep it
sure.
under control. Yeah, I
Not
think
kidding.
just being able to support each other when we're, on a call. We have, trying to get the answer for a customer or something specific. There's multiple ones of us that are sometimes working on the same project or problem to find a solution. So that's pretty cool.
On that note, you guys leave amazing notes. So if I jump in on a problem, I know exactly where you guys are at. And I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, we do.
Sometimes I just say, see, call above, and I expect you to listen to a 25-minute call.
That's not going to happen. But we're so seamless sometimes that customers don't realize they didn't talk to us the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how seamless it is.
If they ask specifically, did I talk to you? I'll be like, oh, it looks like you talked with Arin or you talked with Lydia. But most of the time, they're like, assume they just talked to me and just jump right back
And
in.
you can just glance at the notes that one of us has left.
Yeah.
And I think that's also what's great about us being so small.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
It's one of those things that I don't think customers realize either. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons they're like, well, I talked to Arin last time. I have to talk to her again.
Oh, right.
And it's like, well, not actually, because there's notes on everything. There's notes on what she recommended. There's notes on what you asked for.
Yeah.
And you can talk to anyone. maybe get a slightly different take, but at the same time, get a bunch of information about what you've already talked about because all of that's already in the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've obviously tried multiple different seats at this point, but there's ones that I haven't tried, like the T44, which I know you have. So I've told people before when they ask about it, I'm like, I don't know from personal experience, but let me ask, one of my coworkers who has and stuff, and that's kind of cool too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
for
that
sure.
our houses are filled with different bidet seats. So it's like, hang on.
Yeah,
Can you
I got
measure
you.
this for me? Can you check this one?
there's always some unique question that I don't have access to from a spec sheet or something. And I'll be like, actually, if you hold on for just a minute, I'll have that answer for you.
Yep.
Requesting a wash run.
And then I come back down. I'm out of breath. I'm like, okay, I got your answer.
Yep.
That was 4 flights of stairs. No.
Gotta get them steps in.
I have a team that literally doesn't even need to be managed, and we've built such a trusting, such a well-knit community that we work seamlessly together, and I mean, it's remarkable. It's like the Avengers of so it's pretty amazing.
We do have like a great thing going on.
Yeah, we
honestly.
It's like we're related or something. Except for her.
I mean, some of you are.
So Arin is
Others were chosen.
Arin is a family friend.
Well, since we're a family-run business, everyone always wants to know who I'm related to. And the truth is, I'm not related to any of these people. I know. However, I've been a friend of the family for many years. And so when they outgrew, I guess, the available family members for answering calls, they invited me to join. And so I was explaining this one day to this lovely lady I was speaking to on the phone, and she was like, "Oh, honey, that means you're adopted, and that's even better." And so now when people ask,
You just say you're
I
adopted.
say I'm adopted.
Yeah, it's interesting how many people call and want to know. They just immediately ask, like, well, how are you related to Dan? Like, I see Dan on YouTube. Like, how are you related?
Famous.
A lot of
Dan.
times they assume you guys are my wife too.
That's true.
Oh my
Yes,
God. I
that's
wasn't
true.
sure if I
Every
could bring that up, but
Sometimes they ask, and then sometimes they're like, I saw your husband Dan on YouTube.
yeah. And how
I'll
are
be
your
like,
kids?
Yes.
It's pronounced cousin.
yeah.
Oh man.
Like the notes show here that you talked to all three of us, and you thought all of us were his wife.
Yes.
So
Very interesting.
what's happening here?
Okay. You haven't done your deductive reasoning skills yet.
Yeah. Let's talk about
Oh my
that.
goodness.
So yes, I'm adopted.
Adopted, yes. A lot of times we've had several times where I've talked with somebody and then they talk with you, Lydia, and they find out that we're sisters, and they call back again and we talk with them, and one of us is talking with them and they're like, Lydia, sister to Gloria, cousin to Dan. And it's just like this whole story has developed, and they think it's
So silly.
And then Arin, they're like, how's she related? And I
She's
just
not.
usually say she's the stray. We just found her.
Also true.
Also, yeah.
Best stray ever.
You're not getting rid of this stray though.
Yeah. Once you
Like that.
feed a stray cat, they you can't get rid of them. So
Cat now.
you're a stray cat.
Common misconceptions. So things people call in, they've never used a bidet before, and they're like, I'm asking you some questions, but at the same point in time, I'm telling you what bidets are all about. And you're like, logically what you're saying makes sense, but let me share the dirty secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of those secrets that you guys run into?
One of the biggest ones would probably be, do I need a hot water source?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
People
what's the
always want to.
The answer to that
Have a
is
hot-
no, you do not.
Yeah, and in fact, you do not want that because it won't even work right if you plug it into a hot water source. So, install your electric bidet with just your standard cold water inlet for your toilet. That's all you need.
Yep.
More water pressure is always better. I need to flush the toilet before I run the wash. A bidet uses the water from the toilet bowl. Bidets are only for girls.
I haven't heard anybody say that one.
You haven't?
No, most people are like, does this have a front wash?
Like, can a girl use
use
Yeah, I really don't
I
know.
want a bidet without a front wash.
Yeah.
I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Also, if I don't want to spend that much, can you just take the heated seat out? Like, take that
Ooh, that's a
feature
good
out?
one.
Yeah.
And I don't need a slow close lid either. Oh, okay.
like
Well,
to
that saves you
slam
$100. Lucky you.
How else do you want to customize
Actually,
your
I'm
bidet?
gonna take that damper out and add it to our parts inventory.
Slam that thing down. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So nozzle tips.
Yeah.
It
does
does get
actually.
brought up a lot.
Yeah.
And why does it get brought up a lot?
I think people think that's part of routine maintenance and cleaning. You know, you're wiping down the seat, you're cleaning your toilet bowl, you're going to extend the nozzle to clean that, and removing the tip to get that really clean, I think is what they're thinking. It's just part of routine maintenance.
Kind of pushed that for a little while too, didn't they?
But you need to remove it because how else is it going to get clean?
You don't need to remove it to clean it. It's getting clean in two ways. One, most electric bidet seats, at least ones we'd recommend, have some sort of sanitizing technology that's also cleaning the nozzle. And there's a self-cleaning mode of the bidet that extends the nozzle that allows you to take a brush and give it a nice little scrubbing.
Yeah.
Twice
What do
a
you know?
year. Yeah. So you don't need to take it off. You don't need to purchase another one. You don't need to dispose of your existing one.
The
And
other
if you're really worried about like hard water buildup, you can add an inline water filter that will filter the water before it even gets to the bidet, so it's not gonna. That would be a better option than a nozzle that can be cleaned anyways, because it's
If you're
not,
worried about it getting
yeah, if you're worried
Yeah.
about it being buildup or something, then there's better ways to take care of that, because then it's going to clog the rest of your seat as well. So it's not really the answer to have a
Good point.
removable nozzle tip for cleaning. So
The other thing about removable nozzle tips back when I was green behind the ears is that I used to promote a lot of BioBidet sales. And one of the things that I always said was the removable nozzle tip, because again, I was new. We've been doing this for over 10 years now. We know what we're talking about. But one of the things that happened, because I sold so many BioBidets, is I always got people who took the nozzle tip off, and there's a washer behind the nozzle tip that's got 3 holes in it. They put the washer on incorrectly, or they'd flush the washer, and they'd have to get a new one, and they can't use the bidet in the meantime.
Yeah.
So not only is it not needed, but sometimes going overboard in cleaning when you could get the same level of clean without doing it
Yeah.
can cause more issues.
And the removable nozzles can also become off-centered. They can
True.
get the
another good
spray
point.
can be affected because of that too. So
yeah, so
Yeah.
better to just leave them alone.
yeah, so
Clean it like normal and not remove it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see, what else is a common misconception? Oh, I think I get a lot of questions about how my toilet's going to function with a bidet seat.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to affect the flush? You know, the water, how is the water going to get to the toilet? Because it's going to the bidet now. So kind of just explaining how your toilet's still going to function exactly how it's functioning now. You're just creating an offshoot for the water to go to the bidet now. So a bidet seat's not going to affect the function of your toilet at all. So that's pretty common thought. I think.
On that
Yeah.
too, like sometimes people will have those like cleaning pods or whatever in their toilet tank. And so they're always concerned that that's going to like get into the bidet and cause a problem, but explaining to them that it splits before it even gets to the tank. So there's not toilet tank water that's getting routed to the bidet. It's before it
Yeah.
gets there is another
Yeah.
common
another
thing.
question would be like, where's the water coming from? Where's
Yeah.
the water that I'm getting cleaned with? So
It's
straight-
dirty toilet water. It's not, actually.
Yeah,
It
so
is clean water.
Sam
straight.
cuts it in the wrong spots all years. It's dirty toilet water.
Dirty toilet
End of
water.
scene.
Sorry, Sam.
I think water pressure is another one.
That's a big one. And I think that how to like get clean with a bidet video
Yeah.
also covers that, because that is such a big misconception that everyone thinks cranking the pressure up is how you get cleaner.
Yeah, so more pressure equals a better clean, which is not the case.
That is not the case.
And I actually had a conversation just this week with a customer who was asking. They were new to bidets, but I have 3 different seats that really have different water pressures, different pressure ranges from high pressure seat to a mid to a low. And they're all effective. I find them all effective. They're all comfortable and can be adjusted. But like we say, water's better than paper. So the pressure doesn't really affect the efficiency. A lot of times pressure, if you're used to using bidet seats, especially non-electrics, it's going to feel different. So the pressure is going to feel totally different than what you're used to if you're going to an electric seat with lower pressure, but it's still going to be effective and still get the job done. So.
And Gloria, you're in the same boat as everyone else here in the respect that you have multiple different bidet seats in your home. Depending on which bathroom you use, you use a completely different make and model.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so when someone calls in and talks to anyone at Many Bidets, they're talking to someone who has experience with a variety of products literally in their home, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another one the other day, user presets is a popular one that people, it's a feature that people like that concept of and like the idea of. And one thing about it is it's not like a one button wash and dry. It's not like an auto wash. You have to select the wash first and then select the preset. But from personal experience, I always let people know that I don't use the same settings every time. Depending on how you're feeling, what comfort level you're looking for, I adjust it almost every single use to what I want. So I don't feel that user presets are super necessary.
And
or
a
really
lot of
effective.
a lot of the seats too remember the last use setting anyways. So it's kind of like in that respect, it's less button pressing
right
to go with a seat that doesn't have user presets anyways.
Yeah, I think someone was compared it to someone I was talking to compared it to a car, adjusting the seats every time you're in the car. Like sometimes you feel like you need a little more lumbar support. Sometimes you feel this. So they don't use the exact same settings every time. And so that's, something I learned from personal experience. It's like I really change up the settings every time.
Yeah, for sure. I've very rarely used the user presets.
So since, and I don't know if it's okay to talk about, we can edit it out if it's not, but since we all have different bidets in our house, you have more than anybody.
How many bidets do you have in your house?
Me?
Yeah,
I have 3.
Okay, I have 3.
3
How many do you have?
that are installed currently.
4. I have 4
4
bathrooms. I have
installed.
4 bidets. One of which is actually a seat from a factory that we're testing right now.
Oh,
So,
nice.
that's exciting.
yeah.
That's big. What were you gonna ask?
I was going to ask if we were allowed to, or if we wanted to share what our favorite was out of the ones that we had.
You can.
Unfortunately, my house all came with round toilets, so we went and purchased an elongated toilet that was top flushing just so we could get the Ultra Nova Plus.
Yeah.
There is no going back from that.
Your favorite?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really didn't think I would like any other bidet other than the Cascade 3000.
Yeah. The Cascade was my favorite. It's probably because I had it the longest before trying others, but the Cascade was definitely my favorite. And then the Ultra Nova is on our main bathroom, so I use it a lot more. And it's consistent and comfortable.
Luxurious. It's amazing.
When we installed
I'll take a bathroom break even when I don't have to go to the bathroom.
while you're making your tea. When we installed our Ultra Nova, it was like a couple days before our youngest's birthday. And so we had some family over to our house, and we're having a little birthday get together. And the bathroom is right there on the main floor. And my kids, favorite thing to do every time a new guest came into the house, they're like, come look at this toilet. And the lid's like,
so me.
and they're like, just go in there. And it will you have to try it out. So they
exactly
go
what I
in there,
do.
and everybody's just walking in the bathroom to see the lid opening.
I'm like, no, you have to wait your turn. You have to wait your turn. Hold
Yeah,
on.
it was the best.
Okay, now you can go.
3-year-old birthday party a kid could ask for.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
The party favor. Didn't even have to hire entertainment.
Yeah.
So yours is the Ultra Nova?
Yeah, my favorite's Ultra Nova.
Mine's the Ultra Nova. Second runner-up is the Cascade, for sure.
Yeah.
So I have the Cascade, the Ultranova, and the S7, Toto S7. And there's things that I love about all of them. And before I got the Ultranova, I just had the Cascade and the S7. And I hands down preferred the Cascade just because of the seat itself. The Cascade was just so much more comfortable in the way that the seat was. I preferred the wash on the S7 compared to the Cascade. But the seat being that much more comfortable on the Cascade was just a game. You know, I always chose that over the S7. And then I got the Ultranova, and that one just kind of washed everything else away. So
As a bidet should.
As it should. As it should.
Wash it away.
But it's nice because it doesn't immediately run, prevent cycles or anything when you first sit down on it. So like using it at night doesn't wake anybody up.
The beeping.
There's no beeping. It's one of the most like comfortable seats. Well, it is the most comfortable seat I've ever sat on, and it just offers a lot more luxurious options, I feel like.
Yeah, I tell
the
people if
others.
you want like the closest thing to a regular toilet seat, the Ultranova is the way to go because of the silence that it provides, unless you want to run or wash, the seat size and comfort. The one bad thing that I caught, like with the Ultranova, that I don't love is every time I walk into a different bathroom, I stand there too long waiting for the lid to open.
I know. I've done that too.
I'm just staring at my Eco Nova. I'm like,
Okay, come on.
I gotta call the support number. I gotta call Karen over at Hygiene for help.
She won't answer.
She's not gonna answer.
So what's your favorite?
I really like the NX2, with the Ultranova being a close second. But both of those have auto flushing because the Ultranova works with top flush and we have the top flush toilet. So we do have a lot of scenarios where we have to remind our kids when we're at other people's houses to flush. It's a
think
big
about
problem
Yeah.
because they're not used to flushing. But yeah, I like both of them, both very comfortable. Back before I had either of those, I had a variety of other seats in my home, and seat comfort's a big deal to me. I'd say I'm a little bit on the bigger side. So a lot of bidet seats feel very, very small to me, and the Ultranova and the NX2 both just feel very comfortable. So yeah, I love them both.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were saying your kids, when they, go to other places and you have to remind them to flush, because that's something you have to do when you're just so used to a bidet seat that flushes the toilet.
I've almost forgotten a few times.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my son goes to school, and he just about every week he has to tell me that he doesn't understand why schools don't have bidet seats. Well, he calls them toilets that wash your butt. But yes, bidet seats. And I'm like, have you ever asked your teacher? Have you ever... Well, yeah, but they don't know what I'm talking about. So he's gonna start a little campaign, I think, to get bidet seats in the
public school system.
Yeah, that's his goal in life, I think.
You just send him a bidet to take into school with him.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
And be like,
He's genuinely doesn't understand why other houses don't
I love
have
that.
these, schools don't have them. He even asked about our church. He was like,
If he figures it out, let me know.
yeah.
That might be a great market research.
Although then he comes home and tells me terrible stories about other kids in the bathroom at school, and I'm like, that's probably why they don't have nice things.
ManyBidets.com, where we sell mini bidets, not mini bidets.